I look forward to getting into this conversation, but I'll put it in the context of also, again, back to the chairman. He chairs a committee in the United States Senate that is named Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee. And I remember talking with the senator when he first took the chairmanship, and he said, people always refer to it as the Banking Committee, but the Housing and Urban Affairs part of that committee is equally impactful, if not more, in terms of the direct impact on working people. That's who the chairman is. And so when I think about the work that happens out of the United States Congress, the work we can do as an administration, I do think of it through the lens that he has talked about it, which is how are we going to have direct impact on working people? How are we going to improve the condition of their lives? How are we going to make it doable? Because sadly, that's at some point the goal, much less easy. But let's just start with making it doable. Can they raise their families, get to work, get to the grocery store, satisfy their basic responsibilities and functions to raise a family and to be productive in their community and in their lives? And so that's the context in which I think about this very important subject, which is the subject of public transit. And, when I think about it, I think about good transit equals vibrant communities, right? So if we think about it in terms of an investment in public transit, it is an investment in job creation. It is an investment in improving communities. It is an investment in increasing access to opportunity. Literally, if there is a bus line that is within, and a bus stop that is within walking distance and not half a mile from someone's house, what that means in terms of their ability to have access to the job that may be miles away from where they live. And often it is the case for working people in America that they cannot afford to work where they live, and they need to then travel some distance. And it shouldn't require that you have the financial ability to own a car, pay insurance, pay for new tires to be able to go to work. So I think about public transit in that context. I think about it in the context of what it means for a working parent to be able to take his children to school, and not have to walk long distances or figure out some other way to get a ride from somebody to take one's child to school, especially the youngest of our children. I think of it in the context of the fact that in so many communities, sadly, we are still at a place where we talk about food deserts, where we talk about the unavailability of grocery stores that sell fresh food, much less fruits and vegetables. And people have to travel distances. Well, our public transit allows that to happen. It is that basic and that essential. And then let's think of it in the context of what the pandemic did. And in the midst of extraordinary loss, we also saw the pandemic as an accelerator in that it highlighted, and for so many people illuminated, long-standing fissures and failures in our systems. And it highlighted the importance on this point of the importance of public transit, where so many of our first responders, our healthcare workers, our home care workers, relied on public transit to get to work every day, to continue doing the work, which was about saving lives, often the lives of people who were perfect strangers to them. I think about it in the context, and the president talks about this. He talked about it a couple of days ago at the meeting of the joint session of Congress, about good jobs. And the jobs are about the jobs that will include growing the infrastructure around public transit. The good jobs are the jobs about all of the folks who work to make public transit work, including a wonderful leader that we talked to before we walked in here. It's about what we're going to do in the American Jobs Plan, $110 billion, that's with a B, for transit agencies, $85 billion to modernize and expand transit, and $25 billion to electrify transit buses, something that we talked about here, Mr. Haley. And then there is the last point that I'll make about transit being good for public health and the climate, because that means a lot of folks can get on a bus, and those folks then are not driving. and we are reducing greenhouse gas emissions. We are reducing emissions that are harmful to our climate. It is about what you're doing here in Cincinnati, and it's happening around our country, and the American Jobs Plan will help grow that exponentially, which is also the creation of electric vehicles and electric transit, public transit. So there's so much good work happening here and happening around our country as an extension. And let's continue to invest in public transit in America, understanding that it's about supporting working families, it's about supporting our infrastructure, our economy, and our public health. So with that,